you ever noticed how every time you say you're focusing on your inner peace, the universe immediately gives you 10 new opportunities to prove it? Yeah, same. Hi, loves. Welcome back to Amy's View Unscripted. I'm Amy, and this is Life in Motion, where we talk about what it means to really live, love, and grow in real time and sometimes in real chaos. We've spent the last few weeks doing a lot of inner work, learning how to honor our boundaries, stretch for the people we love, and still keep our center intact. And honestly, that's some advanced level life navigation right there. Gold star. But now that we've got our footing, I want to talk about what happens when that energy starts to ripple outward. And when our personal healing quietly starts influencing everything and everyone around us. Because whether we realize it or not, we're always in motion. Every time we speak, share, scroll, breathe, we're adding something to the collective atmosphere. Some days, that's love. Some days, that is caffeine and confusion. And I think that's really beautiful. That same kind of love that helped us build healthier boundaries and deeper love also shapes how we show up for humanity as a whole. So this week, we're zooming out. This isn't about changing the entire world overnight, although, let's be real, I wouldn't mind. It's about recognizing that every little act of awareness, kindness, or honesty is a world changing event in miniature. This is the ripple effect, how healing ourselves heals the whole. Because when one heart heals, it echoes. And if enough of us start echoing, well, that's how the world shifts. And before you roll your eyes at echoing hearts, just remember physics already proved me right. Energy doesn't disappear, it transfers. So, technically, yes, your good mood really can make a stranger smile at a gas station. Your calm breath really does steady a tense room. So if anyone says you're too sensitive, just tell them they're not sensitive enough. And that bothers me. You know that moment when you walk into a room and you can instantly feel the vibe? Like no one said a word yet, but you just know it's either a good news space or someone's about to cry in a casserole. Yeah, that's energy. That's empathy. That's our nervous systems quietly gossiping with each other. The truth is, none of us exist in a vacuum. Every feeling we process, every boundary we build, every ounce of love or bitterness we carry, it doesn't just stay contained. It ripples. It lands somewhere. It either softens or sharpens the spaces that we move through. And I think that's what we forget sometimes, that our healing isn't just personal, it's contagious. When you regulate yourself instead of reacting, you make the whole room exhale. When you choose compassion over criticism, you remind people that it's okay to soften. When you apologize sincerely, you show someone it's possible to mess up without losing your worth. That's emotional dominoes. One tiny act of awareness toppling into a better moment for someone else. It's kind of wild to think about, but empathy really is an ecosystem. If just one person in the system is calm, grounded, and genuine, it gives everyone else permission to unclench just a little. And I don't know about you, but I think this whole world could use a little bit of collective unclenching. Because what we practice on a personal level, the way we talk to ourselves, the grace we give our loved ones, the boundaries we hold without guilt, All of that becomes training for how we show up for humanity. If I can hold space for my partner's bad day without making it about me, maybe I can hold space for someone else's opinion without turning it into a war. If I can forgive myself for growing slowly, maybe I can stop expecting the world to fix itself overnight. It's all connected. And that's the whole point of emotional intelligence. Not to build a bubble where nothing gets in, but to create a current that moves healing outward. Because, like it or not, every one of us is someone else's mirror neuron moment. So if you have ever doubted whether your inner work matters, I promise you, it already has. Think about it. When your friend texts you mid-meltdown and you send a meme instead of a lecture, you're actually regulating their nervous system through humor. That's neuroscience and friendship. You didn't just stop an emotional spiral, you became a walking therapy dog with Wi-Fi. We live in a time where everyone's connected, but no one is really connecting. You can talk to someone on 3 different apps, react to their stories, like their posts, and still have no idea how they're actually doing. We're swimming in communication, but starving for communion. And honestly, we're tired. Tired of bad news breaking every 5 minutes. Tired of outrage being the new small talk. Tired of having to process a world that never turns off. We used to gather around the dinner table. Now we gather around a screen, scrolling through everyone else's highlight reel while microwaving our own leftovers. And listen, I love technology. I mean, I post videos. But somewhere between sharing awareness and chasing algorithms, we accidentally turn to empathy into content. We don't always feel anymore. Sometimes it feels like we perform. We don't pause to listen. We reload. And slowly, without even realizing it, we start mistaking exposure for connection and noise for truth. But beyond all that, we're craving belonging. We want to see ourselves reflected, to know that there are other humans out there asking the same questions we are. We're desperate to connect, even if it looks ridiculous from the outside. That's why so many of us feel so flat. It's not that we don't care, it's that our nervous systems are overstimulated but undernourished. We're consuming humanity instead of experiencing it. But here's the wild thing, the antidote isn't complicated. It's presence. Real, messy, awkward, unfiltered presence. It's noticing the cashier's eyes instead of your phone. It's checking on your friend instead of assuming the last post they made means they're fine. And it's remembering that empathy isn't something that you scroll past. It's something you practice. Presence is inconvenient. It ruins your scrolling posture. It asks you to feel again, which means you might cry at a commercial. You might get mad at injustice. But that is life. That's proof that the signal's still coming through. When we unplug from the performance of caring, we actually get to start feeling again. So if the world feels heavy, it's not because you're weak. It's because you're human. And you were never meant to carry this much information about everything, everywhere, all at once. It's okay to log off and touch grass. Or, maybe a human being. So, here's the good news. Humanity isn't broken. It's just buffering. We're not lost. We're loading. And maybe the little spinning wheel of figuring it out is exactly where we're supposed to be. Because underneath all the noise, people are still good. We still hold doors open for each other. We still say, "Text me when you get home." We still love dogs, cry at weddings, and say "bless you" to strangers like we have a personal stake in their lung health. The problem isn't that we've stopped caring, it's that we've gotten distracted from what caring actually looks like. We think it has to be massive or public or profound, but most of the time, it's quiet. It's showing up. It's choosing grace when you could choose ego. It's remembering that kindness isn't weakness. Every time you resist the urge to subtweet, every time you give someone the benefit of the doubt, you're basically performing emotional Aikido, redirecting energy instead of escalating it. Soft doesn't mean passive. It means powerful enough to choose restraint. We think that leadership looks like podiums and titles, but real leadership starts in how you treat people who can't give you anything back. It's how you speak to your barista on a bad morning, how you listen when someone is nervous, how you let people feel seen instead of sized up. That's where humanity lives. Not in the headlines, but in the hallway hellos. And I think we've underestimated just how radical softness can be. Not performative, good vibes only softness, but the kind that says, "I'm still open, even after what I've seen." Because cynicism might make us feel strength, but it's compassion that makes us strong. Imagine if every single one of us decided to be a small, consistent source of safety. Not perfection, just safety. Someone others can breathe around. Someone who doesn't add chaos to already heavy spaces. Someone whose presence reminds people of possibility. That's how humanity gets rebuilt, one steady heart at a time. And you know what's funny? You don't even have to try that hard. You've already been doing it. Every time you've chosen patience over pettiness. Every time you've paused before reacting. Every time you've said, "You know what? That's not about me." You've been quietly leading the revolution. It's leadership by vibe, really. You don't need a TED Talk. You just need good emotional posture. Shoulders back, heart open, Wi-Fi optional. The truth is, we all talk about changing the world like it's this big impossible thing. Like it's only for people with platforms, budgets, or capes. But the world doesn't change in boardrooms or press releases. It changes in the smallest, quietest ways. Usually when no one's watching. It changes when you check on your friend. Not because you have the right words, but because you want to make sure that they don't feel alone. It changes when you recycle and apologize to the earth for the small plastic straw in your hand. It changes when you catch yourself judging and choose curiosity instead. That's what humanity looks like in real life. Not perfect, just present. Because every time you choose awareness over autopilot, or empathy over apathy, you're proving that love didn't just survive, it adapted. And maybe that's what evolution really is. Love learning new ways to exist in a very noisy world. We've healed ourselves. We've learned how to love others without losing who we are. And now, we get to use all of that to help rebuild a world that feels a little softer, a little safer, and a lot more awake. So, here's your invitation. not to save the world, but just to see it. To be the reminder that gentleness still exists, that patience still matters, that hope didn't retire, it just changed form. And maybe that's the ripple we all came here to make. Not a wave of perfection, but a steady tide of people who remember how to love out loud. So, light your candle, send that text, take the deep breath, smile at the neighbor you only half like. The ripple doesn't ask for credentials. It just asks you to begin. All right, loves, your turn. I want to hear from you. What's one small way you remind yourself that you're still human in a world that keeps trying to make us machines? Drop it in the comments, and let's fill that space with reminders that heart still matters. And hey, if this episode made you laugh, think, or just breathe a little easier, give it a like, share it with your favorite human, and make sure you're subscribed so you don't miss what's coming next. Because the world doesn't need more perfect people. It needs people who care out loud. I'm Amy, this is Life in Motion, and you're proof that love, the real kind, is still in reach. And if you happen to be in this collective with me, this sensitive, sarcastic, spiritual science experiment that we are, let's keep proving that softness scales. One ripple, one laugh, one same here at a time.